Slings are a great option for reducing pocket bulk day to day, but especially handy for travel. However, after wasting quite a bit of money on buying and testing more slings than I can even count, I don't want you to make the same 5 mistakes. So in this video, I'll share the key points of consideration I now use to confidently choose the best possible sling for any use case. Right off the bat, some folks like having different bags for different outings. I'm one of those people, but if you are the type of person who wants a one-and-done setup, the easiest way to eliminate a ton of decision fatigue from the countless sling options out there is with point of consideration 1, which is whether or not to go with a sling that has 3 exterior zipper compartments. It's the ability to store your absolute most important items, even if they're rarely used, so they have a dedicated home right up against your body for a little bit of added security while the sling is worn. In a previous life, the concept and assessment of single points of failure was something my entire career revolved around. But that concept is a great way to help you decide A, whether a 3rd rear zipper pocket is important to you, and B, what you might store there. For example, when traveling, in my opinion, that 3rd pocket is a 100% must. I mean, your passport is a single point of failure because your government will only issue you one at a time, which means finding ways to mitigate the loss or damage of that single point of failure needs to be a priority. And the rear zippered compartment is now my travel sling requirement, since that pocket can be my single points of failure stash. This may not be valuable to you, but ultimately my first point of consideration in sling buying decisions is simply to be cognizant of this option and to determine whether or not it's important to you. Consideration 2 is to begin with your largest carry item first. After all, no matter how much you love the look, feel, price, and vibe of a sling, if for example you love street photography and frequently walk with a camera, yet the sling you're looking at cannot accommodate your camera and lens setup, it'll ultimately lead to disappointment and buyer's remorse. The problem though? Determining what will and won't fit is always difficult with bags, period, since listed measurements on websites don't tell the whole story. The way I personally navigate around this is to begin with website dimensions and remove 5 to 10% from each of the measurements, since we don't always know if the website is talking about exterior or interior dimensions, and combine that with the listed volume capacity, typically listed in liters. This is a good starting point, after which many companies now show packable flat lay photos in their product page galleries of example loadouts. But sheer capacity only helps inform us so much, and that is where the 3rd point of consideration comes into play: organization options. And contrary to popular belief, more organization does not necessarily mean better for your unique needs. Check it out. As I've given away more and more slings that I've tested and don't fit my needs, I've discovered that although I do value sub-compartments and internal organization pockets to a certain degree, what ultimately ends up working best for me are fewer subdividers in the main central compartment. I think I might be in the minority given the popularity of products like the Elements Tech Case by Alpaca, which to me is still one of the absolute best slings for organization freaks, just not the right choice for me anymore. This Chimera, as you can see, does fit my preference of a large cavernous central compartment, while still offering a bunch of sub-organizers, but just around the edges. And by the way, Bellroy and Carryology have been kind enough to let me give one of these super limited edition sold out Chimeras to one of you. But beyond interior organization, anchor points might be an important consideration as well. I'll sound like a broken record to anyone who's been with me for a bit, but this $5 Espionr number 4 size is one of the loves of my life. And with all of the bags I choose to keep and use on rotation, having additional exterior anchor points is critical for me. As you can see with this Chimera, I can bring my blender bottle combined with the Espionr around comfortably, with both easy access and without the fear of any spills inside of my sling. Again, these specifics are just what I learned have mattered to me. Your needs will likely be different, but the 3rd point of consideration is assessing your real-life usage preferences and habits. As just one of many examples, it might seem strange that, as someone who uses pens very frequently, pen loops and sleeves like this one in the Chimera mean nothing to me, because my personal habits are such that I just don't use them to hold my pens. However, they may be vital to you, and being self-aware goes a long way in being able to ignore bells and whistles that won't improve your life while being able to pay attention to other details that will. I do gotta add that one thing that can make a huge difference is when slings do not have a black interior. When searching for things in low light or at night, a lighter shade of gray, or of course bright orange, makes finding things so much easier, and despite not being directly an organization feature, it absolutely is related to organization and access. Point of consideration 4 is having the confidence to assess a sling against your durability needs. From a tear resistance perspective, of course, leathers and name brand technical fabrics like Cordura or X-Pac all inspire automatic confidence. But if I'm going to be really honest, with so much competition in the bag space and consumers' demands as high as ever, I haven't seen any abrasion resistance issues from virtually any sling I've tested for the better part of a decade, even without these brand name names like Cordura or X-Pac. Water resistance is where things get interesting. I mean, unless you opt for a dry bag, nothing's really going to be 100% waterproof. But if you live in a rain-heavy area, beyond material choices, AquaGuard zippers may be a valuable point of consideration for you. With stress points, it actually matters less with slings compared to backpacks, since it's rare for anyone to load a sling to be that heavy based on size alone. But with the primary stress points being the 2 connection points of the strap, whether it's double or triple stitching, the use of bar tacks, or an even more popular option in recent years, like what the Chimera has, with an insanely reinforced anchor point combined with a fully removable strap with carabiner or even fidlock connections, most slings nowadays have way over-engineered stress point support. The next point of consideration is comfort and appearance. We don't really need to touch on appearance since that is of course a matter of personal opinion. But I do gotta say I was so selfishly excited to see that Bellroy and Carryology used orange accents, since my channel logo is orange, so you better believe I removed their awesome Chimera Velcro patch and swapped it out for my logo one. But when it comes to comfort, there's really only one true point of consideration: your strap support needs. Everyone's body is different and everyone's heaviest loadouts are different, but in all my sling carrying experience, padded straps don't really make a difference to me personally, even for a full day of walking with up to 10 pounds. That said, padding is of course a nice option. The location of the padding, however, is important to know, because using this Chimera as an example as a right-handed person, optimal padding to shoulder contact is seen when it's carried with a sling against the back. But as soon as I wear it against the front of my body, you can see the padding doesn't touch my shoulder at all. This is why this sling's ability to detach the strap and reverse the strap is great, because when I go to very crowded places, for peak security, not only do I like to wear it against the front of my body for visibility, but also like to put a light jacket over the strap behind me to eliminate the risk of snatching from my blind side. Whenever I'm considering a sling, these are the 5 considerations that help me ensure that the purchase decision I'm making is a confident one. This over-engineered, zero expenses spared, highest quality materials, $239 Chimera sold out in a day. But like I mentioned earlier, Bellroy and Carryology have been kind enough to let me give one from their secret remaining stash away to one of you. I'm going to tell you how to enter in a few seconds, but first, if you're curious about the sling I actually currently use more than 90% of the time, you will definitely want to watch this video right up here. If you want to see me get really weird though, this video down here is the one for you. I'll leave them on screen for a few seconds so you can choose which one to watch next, but while you're deciding, consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you'll be notified the moment new videos just like this one drop. And of course, to enter this short 5-day giveaway, click the entry guidelines link down in the description below.